are the Sweets, and it is January 29th. And we're here in Soddy Daisy, Tennessee, and we actually got a little snow yesterday. It's only about 25 degrees out here right now. And we are going to go work on a survival shelter back in the backwoods. So we've got some warm clothes on, some things packed up. We'll go through our packing list once we unpack and we find our site. But here we go. Let's go adventuring. Yeah. Okay, we're going to start unpacking here. We actually found this location on a previous adventure and cleaned some moss and dirt off the top of this big rock. Yep, you can see a big roll of that moss and vines. But we cleaned that off to be a place to be able to sit and cook and eat, prep all of our stuff. And the kids, we like this location. It's a little bit on the side of a hill, but we've got a creek right down here for water, and we're able to pull some rocks up to make a fire pit. And then we've actually identified the place for our shelter up past that leaning tree over here, so we'll show you that in just a little bit. But we're going to get unpacked first.
I have brought this little tin that I got, and it has all the survival stuff. So it's got this sawdust in it, and some fat wood, and ferro rod for making the fire, and it also has this string wax.
Okay, so some fire starting stuff.
I have my hatchet.
Yeah, that council tool Flying Fox. We love that guy. Small and light, but it's a beast. What else we got?
We have some firelight reflective tinder cord.
So that's both our paracord, and it can function as tinder if we have a hard time getting our fire going.
And then I have my multi-tool, so it's got all this stuff in it.
Yeah, good little survival tool. What else you got over there?
I have a Slim Jim for snack. And then I have this handkerchief for any, if somebody was to get hurt or something.
Perfect. And some water.
And some water.
All right, buddy. What do you got up here?
Okay, so I have not as much stuff as Aiden, but I have a boy's axe.
Yeah, your council tools again. We love their stuff.
Yeah.
That is the Forest Service safety axe.
And my pocket knife.
Yeah, your Boy Scout pocket knife.
Yeah, some gloves. Some of these little tender cotton balls. A bagel for some food. And then that same little fat wood thing.
Awesome, and some water as well, huh?
Yes.
Cool.
And two big feathers. 3 big feathers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we found some feathers on our way in, so those are pretty cool. Looks like maybe a hawk. Okay, and then my bag, I brought some extra work gloves in case my fingers got cold. I'm just wearing some wool fingerless right now. Small piece of rope, another council tool Flying Fox hatchet, some more paracord, some water, flashlight just in case we should stay out a little too long, and then 2 more things I like to always bring since we're going to be working on a shelter, or even when not in the woods. A little wax pencil. It's great for leaving marks, making marks. If you need to write a note on pretty much anything, you know, a pencil can break and you have to sharpen it down. A pen can run out of ink, but nice little wax, you just undo that, and whether it's cold or wet, you can almost always get a mark with that guy. And then this little super tiny light string level. We're going to be working on our shelter, so we want to make sure we get things level from the get-go. Easiest way to do that is just bring this tiny little string level with us so we can run it on our paracord and make sure things are looking good.
And some water, of course.
And some water, of course. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do since we got here, and we can tell we're all bundled up, it's pretty cold, we're gonna get a fire started. And like I mentioned previously, we already pulled some rocks out of the creek bed last time we were down here. So have a little bit of a fire pit started. We're gonna get those leaves out of the bottom, get to a nice flat, dry surface, and start collecting some firewood. So one of the things we talked about on our hike in today is that as you're collecting firewood for fire, you really want to avoid just grabbing sticks up off the ground. We're looking for especially small sticks, dead sticks that are leaning up and caught up in branches of other trees. That way we know that it's been up off the ground and will be nice and dry when we need to start this fire. So we're gonna go searching. So here's a good example of what I'm talking about. If you see caught up here and all these other small brambles is this nice, little super small stick, good to start our fire, but it is bone dry because it's been caught up there nice and high and just breathing out with the air. Okay, so we've got a pretty good pile here. Again, all of this stuff, none of it was sitting on the ground. We found it caught up in the rhododendrons or other tree branches. Kids are getting some of their tinder ready over there to start our fire to keep us warm. You can tell we're gonna have a mighty nice view from our shelter this time of year. We're gonna go show you that shelter in just a minute, or where the shelter is gonna be. And then we'll show you what we're gonna build. It's got some waxed cotton. Just slowly unrolled it and teased it apart. We'll get it nice and close there. You want it to look like cotton candy or spider web, so that these little tiny edges will catch the spark from the tinder.
Now should I put some of the...
And we'll start right up, and then we can start adding slightly bigger things from there. And we're going to add a little bit of sawdust to the top too, and the thing to catch that spark and start a nice little flame. Okay, so the next phase of getting our fire started, we've broken up some of the smallest stuff and some of the really, really light, dry, almost crumbly wood as a backup. So once our flint starts that little pile of cotton, we can slowly add our fat wood and some of our small sticks to keep the flame going and growing. Now, what Avon has here is a very, very simple ferro rod and a steel striker. Now with a ferro rod, you can use anything with a kind of a sharp or a blunt steel edge, because you're just shaving off pieces of the rod to start on fire. So one of the other things we like to do is actually get some of the shavings of the rod into our pile there, because that rod, that ferro, will actually also help ignite the fire. Okay, so you can kind of see on top of that some little flecks of metal all over the top. Now we'll try and get some more, but all we're doing to get that is taking that ferro rod and dragging the striker, the steel piece, over it real slow with a lot of pressure to slowly take little bits of that metal and push it off on there. They'll kind of curl up. Now if you go too fast, it'll actually start the spark, which we don't want yet. We want to just grind some off. Pocket knives work really well to help get some of that metal shaving off as well. But we're going to get a little bit more on there, and then as soon as we kick our spark, it's going to start right up for us. Okay, so we got our little striker. And we're using the one with a little bit of wood to be easier to hold on to. The trick is to hold that striker kind of facing, not perpendicular, but the top part facing towards your flame, dragging along the ferro rod. You push a lot of pressure down on the rod and then strike as fast as you can forward.
I got it. Okay.
That's your fat wood. Now we want to keep some air going. so much you overload, but just enough for that flame to start catching on. There's teepee styles or kind of a little log cabin stack like we're doing here. That way it gets plenty of air down into those flames.
There we go. It's catching on that wood. Oh, now it's going. That's Smithy. Okay. Oh, it's getting it.
Again, the trick is not to overload. If you see the flames start going out, just a little bit of air. Okay, we're gonna move some of our stuff out of the way and keep stacking this up. All right, we're on to some pretty good size sticks now. Again, all that dry stuff that we found caught up, not wet on the ground. So the nice thing too, it doesn't produce a lot of smoke, but a good, nice amount of heat. So this is gonna keep us warm today while we work out here. We'll come back and kind of make sure it's always ready to go. Okay, so as I said, we were looking for a structure to go up above ground, and rather than building it and lashing to trees, as we were hiking, we actually saw, you can see it way over here in the background. There's a tree that is still alive, growing perfectly horizontal to the ground. And I'll show you as we get closer. The tree fell over from the stump, but the stump stayed strong. And then a portion of the trunk actually grew into the ground as well. So we're going to use that as one of the bases of our survival tree fort. Our hillside is pretty steep, so we're going to have to cut in a little bit of a path to make sure we never fall down the hill. Okay, so here's the starting portion of our survival structure. That tree had fallen over, but it is still growing into the ground up there. And then here, where the kids are sitting, has actually grown down in with roots into the ground again, providing a super, super strong, live, horizontal begin to our tree structure. So what we're going to do, you can see that large tree in the background, is we're actually going to make a little triangle platform from this horizontal tree over to that vertical tree. We'll lash some posts across into that triangle, and then we'll lay some limbs down across the triangle to make a nice big platform. It's going to be about 15 by 12 feet in that triangle. So then we'll run another beam, or we'll lash this far edge to this tree for a little support here. And I'm going to run another limb nice and tall in the center so that we can hang our tarp, survival tarp, and get some coverage from rain or snow or anything else while we're inside that platform. So stay tuned, we're going to get started. First things first, I'm underneath the horizontal branch or tree here that we're going to build off of. We're going to use our hatchets and just clear some of these little twigs and smaller branches out of the way. Okay, you want to tell everybody what we're doing?
We are going to cut down. He's gonna walk off camera. This one and one over there.
What are we taking these down for, and how did we choose them?
the big support beams on the two sides.
So the two sides of our triangle platform, yep, that go between the horizontal tree and the vertical tree.
And we picked these out because if you look up there, they're super straight and they're really big. So they're gonna be.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do our planks about 4-inch rounds. So this is a little bit bigger so that we know we've got plenty of support to hold our weight up there and be good and strong for all the planks. So there's tree number 1.
Can I film you when you're chopping it down?
And we're either looking at that one on the right over there for number 2. That guy. Or across our little creek, we saw this guy right here that looked pretty awesome. So we might go get him.
So he's going to chop this tree down.
Timber! Oh, geez. Gosh.
That was fun.
All right.
That's it for right now.
Okay. So again, we just took down this is going to be one of our horizontal support planks. And we need to know how long to get this plank without lugging it up onto our platform. So since we don't have a tape measure out here, what we did is we took some paracord, we looped it around one of our trees, our horizontal tree, and then ran the line over to the vertical tree, giving ourselves a little bit of extra space, and then tied a knot, knowing that this length of this cord to that knot is the length of our beams. So now we're going to lay that out on the tree. Okay, so they're holding my looped end of the paracord on the bottom base of our tree. Ran them along, he's nice and straight. Here is my knot. A little bit of stretch on there. Again, I'm going to grab my marking pencil. Mark that spot out. So we're going to chop him here. Okay, day 1 of survival tree fort is done. We're cleaning up our stuff. You can see the sun about to set over the ridge there, so we're going to try and get home before the sun's gone. We've got our 2 big, about 15-foot long horizontal, our first structural pieces ready for the fort right there. And luckily, with the way these trees, how straight they were and strong, they're the tops of those 2 that we'll be able to use for some of our planking for the floor of the fort. We've doused our fire in water. We're going to hit it one more time before we leave, just to make sure we've got that put out. Maybe put some dirt on top of it. Never want to leave any embers or hot coals out in the woods. So we'll be back out here maybe tomorrow.